strike in every sound. The Earthship's walls start to surround. Entire time we shake our ground, building dreams where hope is found.
Welcome to Chapter 5, The Build Begins. In this chapter, we will delve into the heart of the construction process, where hands and hearts unite to breathe life into Earthship Karuna. Join us as we embark on this next phase, where dreams meet determination and the build begins. Now, the time has come to turn vision into reality. The ground, leveled and fortified, awaits the first tire to be placed, a momentous step in the journey to create a home that will not only endure, but thrive in its natural surroundings. Handing over to Alex Lior as he narrates this most exciting part of his entire journey as the build finally begins.
One tire at a time, we're changing everything.
Chapter 5. The Build Begins. As word spread about the Earthship project, an incredible crew of volunteers began to descend on our build site. The response to my call for help was overwhelming. By the time we were ready to lay the first tire, nearly 25 people had gathered, eager to dive in. They came from all over the world, representing a stunning diversity of backgrounds and skill levels, but all united by a passion for sustainable living and a desire to learn by doing. Accommodating this influx was a challenge in itself. We filled up every cottage at Karuna, and then I opened up the veranda around my geodesic dome to house the overflow. There was a beautiful sense of community and shared purpose as we gathered for meals around the big table I'd built, swapping stories and laughter over plates of hearty food. The vibe was fantastic, and these moments of sharing and storytelling with lovely people from diverse backgrounds are memories I'll cherish forever. I even learned how to make the best Russian borscht. I was struck by the fact that the majority of our volunteers were women. They brought an incredible energy and work ethic to the project, and it filled me with hope to think that it might be women who literally build the sustainable future we need. Before we could start on the main build, there were 1,000 little details to sort out. We did a small test of the final mud plaster, experimenting with different ratios of clay-rich soil, sand, and coconut fibers, until we found a mix that would adhere well and resist cracking. Having absolutely zero experience with mud plastering, I relied on research and a lot of trial and error. It took days of messing around to get the finish right, but the satisfaction of finally nailing it was immense. Figuring out the exact placement of the house was another challenge. We were working with a tight space, and I spent hours walking the land, marking out potential footprints with string and stakes, trying to find the sweet spot that would give us room to build, while still nestling the house perfectly into the landscape. The excitement of seeing something solid take shape right before my eyes was indescribable. Leveling the site was a feat in itself. We didn't have access to laser levels or other high-tech tools, so we relied on the old-school method of a water level, a very long, thin rubber hose filled with water that allows you to compare the relative heights of 2 points. It was a slow, painstaking process, but it ensured that our foundation would be as even and stable as possible. What I learned is that you don't really need to level the site with extreme precision when building an Earthship. It's perfectly acceptable to be a bit rough with the leveling, especially since the tires themselves can vary in size. The beauty of Earthship construction is that once you lay the tire down, you can pack it tightly and then fine-tune the height to achieve the level you need. We really only focus on getting the ground course roughly level. After that, we rely on a spirit level to ensure everything stays even as we build up from the top of each tire course. This flexibility is one of the great advantages of working with Earthships. It allows for adjustments and corrections as you go, rather than demanding perfection from the outset. With the site prep done, it was time to start laying tires. This was the moment I'd been dreaming of for years, and the excitement was palpable as John, Andy, and I placed the first few tires of the foundation course. We used the longest, straightest timber we could find to constantly check our work, making micro adjustments to ensure each tire was perfectly aligned. As the circular footprint began to take shape, the true scale of the project hit home. My house was literally rising out of the earth, and even though we were only a couple of courses high, I could already feel the strength and solidity of the structure. I was absolutely meticulous about compaction in this foundational layer. The tires on the bottom have to bear the weight of the entire wall above them, so it's critical that they're packed as solidly as possible. I was constantly on the lookout for any soft spots or inconsistencies, directing volunteers to keep pounding until each tire rang like bedrock when struck. We also used oversized truck tires for this first course to spread the load as much as possible and reduce the chance of subsidence. Weatherproofing was another major consideration. We dug a deep gutter around the perimeter of the foundation, filling it with stones and cement to create an impermeable barrier. Between the first two courses of tires, we sandwiched thick plastic sheeting and tar paper, an added layer of protection against moisture seeping in from below. Some of these steps felt like overkill in the moment, but I knew that a little extra effort now could save us from massive headaches down the line. Even as we worked, I was constantly thinking ahead to the next steps and challenges. We placed conduits and pipes between the tires, carefully mapping out where electrical lines and plumbing would need to run. In an off-grid house, you don't have the luxury of just punching a hole in the wall when you need to run a new wire. It all has to be planned out in advance, built into the bones of the structure. Juggling all these considerations while also managing a large crew of volunteers was a monumental challenge. I was constantly fielding questions, demonstrating techniques, and troubleshooting problems on the fly. The physical labor was demanding enough, but the mental load was even more intense. After the end of a build day, cooking dinner, and enjoying some good company, my day still wasn't over. I somehow found the energy to do a few hours of work making websites, my job throughout this build, which was essential to keep paying for it all. The terrible 2G internet connection I had didn't make it any easier. But despite the challenges, I was blissed out and seemed to have unlimited energy. Looking back, I realize that trying to tackle a project of this scale solo was a bit of a mad risk. My temperament allowed me to keep making it work despite any obstacles, but I've come to believe that building in community is a much saner and more sustainable path. There were moments when the sheer weight of responsibility nearly overwhelmed me, when I longed for a close-knit team to share the burden and the joys. But there, on that mountain, watching the first tiers of my Earthship take shape through the sweat, laughter, and dedication of this unlikely crew, all those worries faded into the background. We were manifesting a shared vision, turning dirt, rubber, and metal into a beacon of hope and possibility. The road ahead would be long and winding, but we were building it together, one tire at a time.
One tire at a time, we shape our ground, building dreams where hope is found. Hands to the earth, we craft our space. Together we build, together we embrace.
In the city where peace meets the gritty, no we're living off the land now. Building dreams and muddy sunlights flow. See the stars, boy, and I feel whole. Somehow this love ain't going to waste. Ain't nobody else could take its place. Feel the vibe, we shine brighter, lighter. And in a world we made, it's more than just a fire. Boy, we're done with running games no more. We gotta dig deeper now. Hands in the soil, build a kingdom on this ground. My hearts beat as one, no shadows can be found. Every brick we lay, each moment we create. In the still of night, our dreams resonate. Trading city lights for the beauty of the stars. In the sacred place, no more bombarded bars. We grow together strong as roots intertwine. A love that can't be bought, so rare, so divine. Building dreams and mud is the right slow, slow, slow.
We laid the first stone, the work's begun. Under the blazing sun, we're all as one. Tires stacked high, the Earthships rise. In the dust, we see our dreams materialize. One tire at a time, we shape our ground. Building dreams where hope is found. Hands to the earth, we craft our space. Together we build, together we embrace. Sweat on our brows, with hearts aligned. Foundation set with strength we find. In every stride, in every sound, the Earthship's walls start to surround.